Okay, good morning, everyone. Just before we start, can I just ask you to take a second to make sure that you're sitting with a posture for listening, that you are not fidgeting with anything? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so good morning, everyone. As you can see from the screen behind me, we're here this morning to recognize and celebrate International Women's Day, which actually took place yesterday and is celebrated around the world on March the 8th. We also have a guest speaker with us today, whom I'll introduce in a second. But I wanted to start by reminding us why it's so important that we celebrate this day here at DBS, here in Thailand, and around the world. I stand here today as someone who's been fortunate to grow up in an environment where my gender never limited my opportunities. I'm also very proud to be part of a team of staff here who recognize that value and ability are not determined by gender. And I'm proud of all of you here, your student body, who show ambition, resilience, and excellence. How fortunate we are to learn, work, and support one another in an environment like this. In truth, my own story is fairly unremarkable. As you can see from this photo, I'm the one in the pink dress and the red shoes. I come from quite a big family. I've got 3 big brothers, a big sister, a younger brother, and a younger sister. Fortunately for me, there was never any hint of gender inequality in my family. The education and opportunities available to me were exactly the same as those available to my brothers. And the expectations that our parents had for us were equally the same. We've been fully supported and celebrated in our successes by our parents. And this may surprise you when you understand that all of us were born last century. Today we're spread across the world, each of us pursuing what matters to us and raising our own children with the same belief that they will be supported and valued regardless of their gender. But my story is not the same story for all women and girls across the world. We know from the media, from experience of people around us, that gender equality has not yet been fully achieved. There are still girls and women in the world who are prevented from receiving an education. There are still girls and women who do not have access to the same opportunities. And there are still girls and women who are denied respect or recognition simply because of their gender. And that's why this day exists, this International Women's Day, celebrated every year on March the 8th since 1911, when the German activist Clara Zetkin proposed the idea of an international day to recognize women's rights. Her idea was simple but powerful, that from 1911, people around the world would come together to recognize the achievements of women and continue the work of creating a more equal society. Days like today are not only about looking back and recognizing the progress that has been made, they're also about looking forward, thinking about the kind of world that we want to create, and the role that each and every one of us can play in shaping it. Equality benefits everyone, not just women. It strengthens our communities, our schools, and our society. And that brings me to the reason why we are especially fortunate today. We have the opportunity to hear from someone whose achievements and work reflect the very themes we are discussing this morning. Our guest speaker is Chanita Siraket Craythorne Kunsami, the current Mrs. World 2025, who was crowned in Las Vegas in January this year. Alongside this global title, she works as the brand and media coordinator for Save the Children Thailand, and she consistently advocates for happy mothers and for the protection of child rights. Kunsami is also a Royal Thai scholar, having received a fully funded scholarship that supported her all the way from A-levels through to a master's degree. Her journey is one that reflects dedication, resilience, and a deep commitment to supporting families and children. Please can you stand and join me in giving a very warm DBS welcome to Kunsami.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's such an amazing sight to see during Monday morning. And a very good morning to every one of you guys here, all of the SLT as well as the teachers and all of the students here. I believe that you guys are year 7 till year 13, is that correct? Yes? Okay, well, thank you very much, Mrs. Pathybridge, for the very nice introduction. I normally am on this stage volunteering over there as an MC for open days and, welcoming new parents to come and join our beautiful school. And if you haven't known, another fact about me is that I actually am one of the parents here. My son goes to the school as well, Alex. He goes to year 2, ever since Mini Dragons. And today, what I plan to talk to you, I'd like to talk to you about breakfast and dinner. So if I asked you this morning, what did you guys have for breakfast? Did you remember? Do you remember what you had for breakfast? You don't remember? Are you sure? You didn't have any breakfast? Anyone remember what you guys had for breakfast? I hope some of you remember. For me, I had scrambled eggs. So when you already know what you had for breakfast, did you remember how it felt? What was the texture like? Was it soft like mine? And a little bit of crunchiness from the pepper. What was the taste? Did you remember the taste? Was it salty? I asked my son this morning how was his scrambled eggs. He said it was nice. But to explore a little bit more, was it salty or was it sweet? Or even the word umami that comes all together. So I like for you to remember this particular breakfast that you had and the feeling. Was it a good breakfast? Or was it a bland breakfast that you don't actually remember? Or would you prefer to have another set of breakfast? Now, we've gone through breakfast already, right? I like to ask you, what would you like to have for dinner today? Can I have a couple of volunteers, please? What would you like to have for breakfast? What would you like to have for dinner? Spaghetti. Anyone else want spaghetti for dinner? Yep. KFC. That sounds good. Yes. McDonald's. Lovely, lovely fast food. Lovely. Yes. Somtam. That's also amazing. Okay, thank you very much, volunteers. Now we get started a little bit. This is what I like to have for dinner. I love to have this. Actually, this is a dish from one of a very difficult restaurant to book at Mahasan. And this, you can probably tell that it's just a steak on top of the rice with fermented eggs, yolk on top. So why is it that I talk about breakfast to dinner? I already have my breakfast. I know how it felt to be having the first bite all the way to the last bite when I finished it. And I also know what I like to have for dinner. And that is why I like to invite all of you to join me in knowing this little girl. This little girl this is not an exact photo that I drew, but back 30 years ago when I was 8 years old, I wanted to have an occupation that has to do with this. Does anybody know what this is? What this occupation or career that an 8-year-old Sammy would like to have? Anyone? Nope. I wanted to be a computer engineer. I wanted to be one. My dad is an engineer, but for civil engineer. But I wanted to do something with this, not knowing so much of what computer engineer, what do they do? That 8-year-old girl then started talking to her mom. Yeah, mommy, I wanted to be a computer engineer. And then when I turned 11, I wanted to be a lawyer. And then I spoke to my mom. My mom is like my best friend. So I spoke to my mom, man, I would like to be one. So this photo has shifted a little bit. I didn't really know what it was to be a solicitor, or a lawyer. But my mom kind of like said to me, Sammy, your dad's friend is a lawyer and he lost so much hair. So maybe you can shift it a little bit. So being 11 years old, I didn't know what it was to be, a lawyer. So I said, I didn't want to lose hair. I want to have long hair. So I shifted a bit. And along the way, I have come in contact with a number of people in different walks of life. And then, when the opportunity came, I applied for a scholarship. However, I like to tell you the story that before the scholarship, it wasn't as simple as applying, getting it. I grew up and always have been in classes which I went to a Thai school, right? A Thai curriculum. And in Thai schools, they have separated classes according to the student skills. And I've always been in a gifted class. So all my friends are very smart, and the majority of them decided to go to university doing medicine or joining the engineering school. And I went to America for a year for an exchange program. Coming back to Thailand, I didn't know what I wanted to pursue as my career goal. I didn't know what to do when I was going to go to university. So I decided, okay, being in the maths and science class in Thailand, they separated according to your preference and your skills and how good you are as well. So if you are in the maths and science, you can go to university in that field. And I decided that, okay, I'm going to repeat a year because I didn't know what I like to do. Do I want to be a doctor? Do I want to be a dentist because my mom's a dental nurse and a lecturer? Or do I want to do something else? So I repeated a year, which means that I have to join the younger class of mine, and then my friends would go to university before me. That was just 1 year that I decided to explore. 1 year that I decided to pursue it in order to explore what I would like to do. In many of the people, I think 1 year is a long time. But to me, it was one worth year that I did. So, what did I do afterwards? I decided that I'm just gonna sit exams and not paying too much attention to schools in Thailand. My biggest and the first manifesto that I did every single night when I was in Mathayom 6 or grade 12 was that I would go and pray, and I wish to go to university overseas. Just to go to a university overseas, not really knowing what class would I do. Now you probably thought, oh, why am I so aimless? I mean, how can she become Mrs. World and not knowing what she wanted to do? To be honest with you, I still don't know what I like to do. I don't know at all. And I'm exploring every day as it comes. Okay, so moving backwards a little bit, that little girl, when she's 8 years old, she wanted to be a computer engineer. I then, at the age of 19, started thinking, oh, what do I want to do? I mean, I go to exams in Thailand not being so prepared for it, because I didn't really want to go to universities in Thailand. And one day, my dad wrote me a note, and he said, you have to step up your game. Most of your friends already got quotas to go to universities already. What are you doing? That note really struck me so strongly. I mean, I was the class president. I was elected by the majority of 4,500 students in my school, but I was one of the rare ones that didn't get the scholarship or offers from university. But, you know, sometimes things happen for a reason. Had I decided to pay that much effort into trying to go to university in Khon Kaen, that's where I'm from, I could easily just join. I could easily be doing something else by now. But whenever the opportunity came, I applied for universities, for scholarships. I was more towards wanting the scholarship to go and study overseas. And that's when I was awarded, I passed the exam and I joined the Thai Scholar, and I got the full scholarship to do A-levels, undergraduate and postgraduate in the UK. But my story from before A-levels, I went in to talk to the judges of the scholarship. I actually told them, I'd like to do political science at Georgetown University. Does anybody know where Georgetown is? Yeah? Exactly, Washington, D.C. It's in America. And I told them that I wanted to go to America and do political science. But how is it that I ended up going to University of Edinburgh doing economics with management science? Along the way, there were a lot of discussions and new opportunities that came in. I decided first I wanted to go to the UK because I've been to America already. My scholarship allows me to go to anywhere around the world, in America, in the UK, Australia, New Zealand, or wherever I like to do. I was very fortunate that I chose that program. And then I decided I would go to the UK. And I went to Dover College in Oxford. And wanting to do politics, I actually didn't choose politics, funnily enough. I didn't choose politics as part of my A-levels, but I chose economics. And I got to be so inspired by, you know, the graphs, demand and supply, a little bit of econometrics, and I was like, oh, I like to do this. I didn't know what I wanted to do for the future, but I love what I do. While I was sitting in the economics class. So I applied to do economics, and then I joined university doing economics with management science. A little bit of the calculated plan, but then with economics and management science, there's the business side to it for management science. So I get to take classes with business studies. And that's when I started learning more about the courses that business schools has to offer. And then afterwards, I interned at Sing Corporation at the marketing department, as well as I did an internship at Thai Trade Center in Paris, being, you know, the marketer of Thailand to sell products, Thai products and services to the world. That's a part of the Ministry of Commerce. And then I realized, wow, marketing is actually quite fun. So I decided to pursue my master's in marketing and business analysis. So you see, from that little girl who wanted to do engineering, to being a marketing student, and then join the working life as a marketer, all the way from a government official at Ministry of Commerce, and working for cryptocurrency companies. And I joined politics for a little bit as well, as now I work for an NGO called Save the Children. Each touch point that I get to experience is going back to where I started, to what my breakfast was. And also to decide to join pageantry. I don't know if you guys are like the followers of pageantry at all, but I was not one of them. I didn't know what's the difference between Miss Universe, Miss Grand, Miss Thailand, let alone having Mrs. pageantry platforms. But when my friend phoned to tell me, Sammy, I think you should apply for Mrs. Thailand World, and I actually laughed out loud. I was like, was there such thing? There is such thing for a married person, a married woman, to go and walk on the stage, say whatever she wants to say. Is there such thing? Had I not have that friend that told me about it, and I go on and explore what Mrs. Thailand World does, and what do Mrs. Worlds in the past, what have they done? I will not be here standing right in front of you wearing the sash and the crown and hopefully share some of my experiences to you at all. I will not be able to do that. So the two things that I learned from my breakfast to be crowned in Las Vegas just in January is that every single time that I have the breakfast, each breakfast is more or less like each experience. The experience that I get to live, that beautiful, fulfilling, or terrible taste or texture that you have at each touch point of life, it's like having a breakfast. You enjoy it, you prolong it because you needed it to survive and not feeling so hungry before you go on to have your lunch and dinner. And then when you already know you wanted McDonald's, KFC, som tam, or even, what was that one that you want? Spaghetti. You already know what would you like. I wanted this, but it's so extremely difficult to get a reservation at this restaurant. But if I wanted to make one myself, I'll need to go to a butcher to get this specific type of beef. And I needed to go and make sure that the fermented yolk is properly done. Otherwise, the taste will not be as good. I would need to make sure that in the fridge, there's garlic in my fridge. All of this I needed to make sure if I wanted to do it myself, because I won't be able to go to the restaurant because it's extremely difficult to book. Or I could also look in my fridge and have something different. Do you know what this is? Have you been to DO? Anyone? Some of you have been to DO. Also very difficult to get in, but you can wait 2 hours to go to join the queue. But this is the Mama menu with lots of amazing ingredients into it. You don't have to do a full set of a new dinner. As long as in that fridge you have enough, or if you can be bothered and make a little bit more effort to go to a new destination. From this destination, from me wanting to be an engineer, and when opportunities come, I've grabbed some of it, and some of it I didn't really take into much of an account into it all. To this, and also working alongside children around Thailand. Anything of this is up to you, whether you have that goal or not. And your goal doesn't always have to be this. Your goal can always change. Just needed to make sure that if you're going to get to that goal, that picture of you eating that is clear enough. And you have to set this timeline that now it's 8:30. When are you going to have your dinner? When are you going to have your spaghetti? What time? 7? When are you going to have your McDonald's? 8? When are you going to have your KFC? 7? When are you going to have your som tam? 5? All of you have the time set already where you're going to have your dinners. And you already know what you're going to have for dinner. The most important thing that I've learned is that when you have your goal set, very clear that you're going to be munching that by 5. For me, I eat around 7. So 7 o'clock, I'm going to have my dinner, eating that yummy, scrumptious dinner at 7 o'clock. So what is it that you're going to do? It's up to you if you're going to eat that and make that happen. Or along the way, DO's queue is open and I would just go for this instead. As there's nothing right or wrong to meet that previous goal, but it's also okay that life brings you opportunities. You make your own opportunity and have something else. Because at the end of the day, you are the person who eats it. You eat, you have, and you take that breakfast and dinner. And you're going to be the one who either like it or don't like it. And if you don't like it, you have another dinner. You have another breakfast to plan and get towards. So that's it, guys. That's the end of my presentation. I hope you will get something or two from that. And I would say thank you very much for listening.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That was fantastic. Kuntami has agreed to answer a couple of questions if anybody has something that they would like to ask. And I have a microphone here I can dash down and take a question or two. I can see.
So from the hints and clues given in your speech, I suppose that we came from the same school, because there's not really that many schools with that many people, really. And from the topic of your speech, I also found out that I do want to apply to the same scholarship that you received. So my question is, for the interview round, how did you prepare to answer difficult questions from the scholarship committees, and how did you contribute to the group discussion when it comes to topics like politics and stuff like that?
Okay, so two things. I'm not sure if it's different now, but I do this for every of the interviews that I go to. So either it's going to be for a scholarship, or if it's going to be for a job interview, or even for any normal interviews. What I do is, I used to work with my mom a lot, and we come up with like different questions we come up with questions, and then we come up with answers. And I think what makes me different is that I actually practice it out. Like today, when I plan for a talk, I actually start talking. The more that you get used to your own words, the words that you practice every single time before joining any events at all, you can get them out much easier than whenever it's in your head. So first, practice. Come up with a set of questions, and then just keep talking. But another thing that I think set me apart was I was the only one that brought my portfolio. That I was the only one. But believe it or not, it was quite interesting, because I brought it in, and I was just going to show it to them, and they said, just put it there. I spent a long time doing my portfolio. I did a lot in school, and they just told me to put it there, right in front of me. And I think one thing about life is that you don't wait, or you don't have to obey all the time. The first question asked was, Khon Vithayayon School, they said, is such a good school. What is it? Why is it good? What I just said, I thought on the spot, I was just like, the school itself has brought me so many opportunities. And then I started grabbing my portfolio and started talking about what I did well. So that's another thing, You don't wait until people hand you the opportunity. You make your own fortune. Make with whatever you have, and show them that you can be someone who will be the great choice for the country. And for your second question about discussion, I think the most important thing in life is think of yourself in a group of friends when you talk about what choice of restaurant you like to go. Do you like someone who dominates the conversation? Or do you actually open or become the facilitator of that? What I did was I was the facilitator. I agree and disagree and make sure that everyone gets to talk. And I also pitched in what I had in mind. So they wanted that person, someone who's, most of them are academically as equal as one another, maybe a little bit more on the written exam, but at the end, they combine them both. So yes, for the scholarship you do that, and in life as well. That's what I find, You get valued, your opinions are valued more when you are the facilitator. Does it help? Yep. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Being mindful of the time, I'm afraid we're going to have to close it there. So I've very much enjoyed hearing your story, Konsami, and I've definitely enjoyed the food related metaphors. I'm actually quite hungry, even though I had quite a good breakfast this morning. We are going to have to make our way to period 2 now. Okay, so if we could have one final round of applause for our guest speaker today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and can you please start exiting through your normal door? Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. I'll give this back to you. I think we're both off.
I don't think I've ever felt so hungry.
Oh, really?